Thank you for joining us here with OnComics. This is Dr. Alex. You may have heard him spoken of in hushed tones in male bathrooms and the medical practices of London and thereabouts. But but the rash will clear up, especially after the problem that we've discovered with my audio. And I am certain that I will be gluing this together later. And I'm sorry. Dr. Alex.
Hello.
Would you mind sharing a little bit with us? You had just shared that you are Dr. Alex Lights, and you
Alex
don't
Lights,
actually go by Dr. Alex except by way of YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah, except for one professional gig where I got the name, and I'm not going into much detail, but for some weird reason, everyone where I work uses their title and their first name, and so I ended up being called Dr. Alex, which is bizarre, and I just ran with it for the YouTube thing, and it seemed to work very well, given I ended up doing lots of Doctor Who stuff, although that wasn't where I started. I started doing sword fighting stuff, but now it's perfect. But yes, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah.
That explains those videos I saw on your channel about sword fighting.
It did start with those, and then I started reusing initially old Doctor Who stuff I had, and then I ran out, and so I started making new Doctor Who stuff.
That's the best way, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. It's worked out really well. The quick version of what you asked before, how did I get into Doctor Who? I started in uni because I was writing for fun at school and then into university afterwards, and I was ended up not initially but sharing a flat with two guys who were running a fanzine for Doctor Who called Silver Carrier, who everyone in the whole of Doctor Who is more geeky about Doctor Who than I am. I had no idea what Silver Carrier meant until about 3 weeks ago. I now know it's from a Patrick Troughton story with Cybermen. Awesome. But I'm that bad at Doctor Who, I didn't know. Everyone knows more about Doctor Who than I did. I just watched it on TV from age nothing, 0, up to going off to uni, actually a little bit before. But yeah, I've never been studious about my Doctor Who. I haven't been there meticulously memorizing everything about Doctor Who. I certainly never bothered to memorize the stuff that was off the TV, the extended universe stuff, which, supreme irony of ironies, I ended up writing. I never bothered to read or memorize or know about, but it never really hindered my appreciation or enjoyment of Doctor Who. But I started writing non-Doctor Who for the fanzine that was meant to be for Doctor Who, and then eventually they nudged me into writing Doctor Who. Later, John became an editor for Big Finish, for their short stories collections called Short Trips, and then he said, "Look, you can write us a story," and that's how I got my first gig where they actually paid me for stuff. Became a proper writer.
Yes,
money was exchanged, contracts, all sorts of things. Editors worked on it. So that's where I started, and I did 3 stories under them, and then I kind of fell off the wagon of writing for a bit. I got distracted by life and other things. And then, as I said, I started reading the Doctor Who stuff as something to do on YouTube, ran out of the stuff I'd already written, and so I started writing season 12, partly because I ran out, partly because I wanted to work with my now editor and best friend, Eon, to do something new with her. And there was also the extra spur of new Doctor Who, i.e. I hope you're still there.
What in the world?
i.e. Chimbal's Dross was universally being panned, virtually universally being panned. And
I'm still here.
Good. Just checking. And so all of these things combined gave me the impetus to actually write new Doctor Who, and I wrote that first episode of season 12, which was largely taking the piss out of Chimbal and his inept writing and the whole ideas, the very uh, shaky, if not downright crap ideas he was coming up with. So I just rewrote. I wrote spoilers. I wrote the entirety of his season 11 and season 12 and probably season 13 into a Dallas shower scene. It's a dream thing. As a deliberate joke, but it also worked very well narratively speaking. And then did the whole of season 12 as if Peter Capaldi was still the Doctor. Essentially, he's regenerated into a carbon copy of himself, so he's still
Yes.
Capaldi, but there are differences, and there are very subtle differences that become more and more strong as you run through season 12. And then the last couple of episodes, he has a bit of a kick that kind of throws him a bit more back Capaldi-like. But there are other influences get thrust upon him during season 12, and he's a little bit more like Capaldi Doctor, but a little bit of the Fourth Doctor gets shoved in there too.
Quite.
It's not neither one nor the other, but it's now definitely more of a blend of the two. So yeah, that's what made me do season 12. Season 13 is out in book form earlier than I intended because I was trying to enter the Amazon Kindle Storyteller competition 2021, and that deadline was publish it by August the 31st. So I had to get it finished by then. So I rammed it out a couple of days ahead of deadline. So the book is out there, but it will be a YouTube series. The premiere is already up there floating in my channel, ready to go. It now seems to be 25 minutes before the Doctor Who series that BBC's putting out will go on air. So my premiere will come out 25 minutes ahead of it.
Nice!
I thought so.
That is fantastic.
Of course, I've had to do quite a bit of running around because initially they said it was going to be 8:30 they were going to broadcast, yeah? So I was going to broadcast mine at 7:30. Now they've shoved it back to 6:30. It's like, how can you be this disorganized with your scheduling 4 days ahead of it actually going out? This is ridiculous. I can't believe the shit show, pardon my language, that the BBC has become, and Chimble and Doctor Who. It's just, Jesus, how inept and incompetent and poorly managed is the whole operation.
I am amazed by everything that they do.
Yeah.
In terms of pack-led management.
Yes, very much pack-led management. Jesus Christ. They just... So I rejigged my start time from 7:30 to 6 because I still wanted to make sure mine started ahead of theirs. Just, mine could be like an appetizer before the dubious contents of Bit Chimble throws itself down your gullet. I mean, yeah. You can watch mine first, and then if you really want to, you can watch the BBC one. But that's the plan anyway.
If I watch it, it's only because Noel forced me to.
Hang on, Noel. Do I know Noel the TARDIS Zone?
Yes.
Yeah, I did know the name. I thought so.
Yes.
You and I have a mutual friend of Zvi Lebetkin, the rabbi from
Yes,
Another
we
Planet,
do.
don't we? Yes, I thought so. I mention him now because all my new books, our new books, me and Ian as well, my editor, have had new covers done by the rabbi, including season 12. I really like his season 12. I don't know if that's close enough for you to see.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
I know that the stance that he got for the 12th Doctor.
I've seen it on Amazon. But yeah, and I actually have a note here to ask you how that came to pass. And go ahead and tell us about the impetus for Rabbi getting involved in your cover design.
Well, we started chatting through the comments on videos initially, and then we got to talking a bit more through, I think, Facebook. And then he either started watching the videos or I sent him season 12, one or the other, and he started reading it and was going, oh my God, this is proper Doctor Who. This is the Capaldi stuff we missed. This is what should have continued. All the things I've kind of hoped was the effect that my story would have. But yeah, he just he is so positive and so enthused by it. I'm constantly blown away by his enthusiasm. And for him to do this, he's done it for free. I owe him 1,000 favors. I've already started paying him off, I have to say. I'm doing some voice work for him for a comic.
Really?
An online... it would be an online comic, I think. But I'm voicing characters for his comic. So yeah, I'm indebted to him forever because these covers are beautiful.
If you ever need somebody to come in and fill a character that has absolutely no style, quality, or acting chops, let me know.
Oh, thank you. I will. I mean, I grab people to do roles whenever I can. So you're aware of Doomcock?
Yes.
Doomcock has a character he's a supporting character, but he's got a lot of exposition in episodes 2 and 3 of season 13, which I just switched in my hand. There's Savi's next cover. There you go. That's season 13. Beautiful cover again.
Beautiful.
And Doomcock plays a character in chapters, if you like, 2 and 3 of this. Jessie Milestone, Mindless Entertainment. Are you aware of her?
I know the name, but I'm skipping on her.
Very loud, very argumentative, brilliant fencer as well, like me as well, as it turns out. But
nice.
yeah, I'm quite good friends with Jessie. We've chatted quite a bit, and she and Jeff, world class bullshitters Jeff, her boyfriend, both played a couple.
Oh yes, of course.
Good, you got it. They both play a couple in season 13 in chapter 3. I had to remember which one was it in. Yeah, chapter 3. They're both in that. So, in fact, Doomcock, and they overlap. So I've got Doomcock, Jessie, and Jeff all in chapter 3. So yeah, guest stars, going so off beam from what I was originally talking about. Guest stars, I do enjoy running with those. And of course, my editor, Eon, is playing Romana all the way through season 12 and season 13. And quite a few other female characters that I've worked into this story as well.
She's a fantastic addition. I
agree.
Is she what? Is she Persian?
She's Romanian.
Romanian.
Yeah, which goes quite well with Romana.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with Romana taking on a new appearance, exactly. It doesn't hurt one bit.
Not at all. That's certainly my opinion. Yes.
Yes. She brings something to your TARDIS shed that that works. And,
thank you. I agree.
I'm really surprised by what she's able to just turn on a phrase and it works.
I know, I love her. The way she delivers the lines is great. I know Svi doesn't like it because of the accent, doesn't like her portrayal because it's not a perfect upper-class English accent. But as you've just intimated, it's not the same regeneration Romana. Their accent can change. The Doctor went from Scottish to Cockney-ish to Northern. I'm actually thinking about the Eccleston Doctor, not the Jodie Whittaker travesty. But yeah,
back to Scottish again.
yeah, exactly. So there's no reason why Romana can't go through accent.
It convinces me that Gallifreyans are actually Highlanders.
Yeah. You mean they're from Scotland? They're actually from Scotland, or you mean they're immortal and their head gets chopped off and they? No.
Well, I'm sure that's true also. After a billion generations or so, which I don't get. But we've seen wonderful guest stars in Doctor Who that are not even British. They just happen to be able to speak in English, and it works.
Yeah, I agree.
So who is it you said was complaining about Svi?
Svi was complaining that he wants his Romana to have a cut glass English accent. I'm thinking, well, no, this works perfectly. This is a new Romana. It's not. Oh God, I've forgotten her name. Mary Tam. It's not Lalla Ward. This is a new Romana. By the way, those are the only 2 Romanas I know about. Again, if there's any extended universe Romanas out there, I don't care. I'm just running with what people saw on screen. That's the amount of canon that I stick to, yeah? And I
think that's fair.
Yeah, I find it very liberating. I don't have to worry about all the other stuff people pumped out in books and comics and audio adventures. It was quite embarrassing, actually, when I was working for Big Finish. The second story I wrote was an 8th Doctor story. The only 8th Doctor I was familiar with was the TV movie, yeah?
Right.
But Big Finish have been producing tons of audio adventures and books and short stories with Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor. And John asked me to do this 8th Doctor. I think he said, don't do the 4th Doctor again. So I went, fine, I'll do the 8th Doctor. But I knew nothing about the 8th Doctor, except I'd vaguely heard things being discussed about where his path had gone, and he was a bit darker, and he had some bad things happen. But I just wrote my Eighth Doctor story, imagining it was right towards the end of his regeneration, and his memory's failing a bit, and he's found a whole bunch of new friends, and he's trying to start an Institute of Time on this remote planet orbiting a black hole. So I just tried to take it as far away as possible, so I didn't have to worry about all the extra extended universe backstory. Again, I will do whatever I can to avoid getting bogged down in the extended universe stuff, so I don't have to do research. I just want to play with the character and write a story. That's so. In some ways, I'm a bad Doctor Who person because I'm not religious about my Doctor Who content, but I do kind of still stick to the whole what you see on screen is canon. He is a Time Lord. He is from Gallifrey. He is not special by virtue of having some special birth. He's special because he's a non-conformist authority figure, as V says. He's differently wired in his thinking, but not physically different from any other Gallifreyan. The fact that Chimble's tried to make it in Space Jesus or Space Messiah, it's like, no, you've missed the entire point of Doctor Who. He's not special because he's got, 3 legs or an extra head. It's not safe for people rocks, but it's just not. That's not the point. The point of the character was this is someone who is extraordinary by the way he thinks. That's of course there should be the hook for anyone getting into Doctor Who. Is like, here is someone who's just allowed to think differently. They don't have to be magical super beings. Yeah, I know the Gallifreyans have powers, but they basically operate like slightly stronger humans who have a little bit more robust because of their regenerations. But they're not freaking supermen or women. No. And it's just so badly handled by the current crop of writers, or the showrunner. I just can't.
I was watching the second Tom Baker episode last night, and the way he handled himself.
It's a long
Ark
time
in
since
Space.
I watched. Oh, Ark in Space. No, I do know that one very well.
And
yeah,
and he turns and he tilts his head and he does that thing with his teeth, and you're starting to think, Harry. But of course you can't take any credit for yourself because it's entirely my influence. And, I mean, yes. He's like, oh, he's channeling Capaldi, but no, it's the other way around.
No, I often did think that Capaldi sounded like Tom Baker on more than one occasion. In fact, the one where he really did. Do you remember when he found the child Davros on the battlefield and there were the hand mines?
Yes.
You hear Capaldi's voice coming across to him. So I can't remember his lines exactly, saying, don't worry, I'll come for you. And the voice that Capaldi did was so close to Tom Baker. It was like, oh, that gave me goosebumps. That was so when I mixed more Tom Baker back into Capaldi's 12th Doctor, I didn't feel I was doing anything wrong or out of the ordinary. I knew that Capaldi was, among other things, channeling a lot of the 4th Doctor.
Absolutely.
And the other Doctors as well, to be fair. There's definitely some Pertwee in there too. But I'm pretty sure he's well into his 4th Doctor.
I didn't realize until last night there are a lot of things that even Tom Baker was channeling of the first Doctor, second Doctor, and I had to think about it. And there were bits of the third Doctor's specific lines from his regeneration that were kind of flashing forward, and those were not scripted lines. Those were lines that he and the director had cooked up on the fly when he was doing
Pertwee.
When he's doing the regeneration, post regeneration scenes.
Tom Baker.
Yes, they didn't have that scripted, so they were just improvising.
You can kind of tell that when he's running around playing skipping rope with Harry, and the back and forth is very random. And the things he says when he the square of the hypotenuse, blah 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 blah, it's just like, whoa. Yeah. You can tell he's improvising a lot of this. It was brilliant. He is brilliant. He's still with us, thank goodness, for now. So yeah, long may he stay with us.
Oh, I hope so. Let's see. So that's kind of how you got into the Kindle book and the YouTube channel with the Doctor Who
a long way around
parody episodes, and the Rabbi getting into your cover
Yeah.
business. Did he offer to do that, or did you ask him to?
He offered because I'd made covers, and he thought these are the worst. He said, "No, you said look, I can do better than that." I thought I did all right. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not that. I'm not ashamed that it didn't look as good as his. They don't look as good as his by a long way. But yeah, he's just offered. This is what I'm saying. He's very generous and very giving.
Yes, he is.
And nobody's perfect. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says. I assume he doesn't agree with everything else says. We disagree on Romana for a start, but he's a good man. He's trying to do the best he can,
Mm-hmm.
and he's generous to a fault. By the way, I have to show you the last one. I've shown you 13 and 12. The in between book that I shoved out after I finished 12 and before 13, I stuck all of my old stories, some published, the Big Finish ones, and some not published, at least not except for on YouTube for the last one, into this
Oh,
Regenerations Past. It's a little bit slimmer than the other two volumes. It's only, how big? 164 pages by the look of it, but still a full size book. It's got 8 stories in it,
it
and
is
it's
indeed.
like it's goes right back to the earliest Doctor Who I've written. I think, yeah, I think it does. The first story is by myself and Hugh Wilkins, who was also we shared a flat. He also worked for Big Finish, and we wrote it together while drunk in a terrible house in South London near Peckham, where the walls didn't even meet the floor. I don't know how that works. The thing about the house was levitating above its own floor. Um, it was a really awful place, and we were just out of uni and penniless, and I had a crappy job that paid virtually nothing, and but we wrote this thing while shivering around a single heater in his room, while drunk, and possibly we might have consumed other things as well. Anyway, we wrote this bizarre Seventh Doctor story called Sardines. So it starts with something very raw, very immature, but I think the story still. I was convinced actually by Ian, my editor, that these have merit. These early stories still have merit. There's a story there to be told.
If I won't lean too hard on the Seventh Doctor, but if you could make the Sixth Doctor have uh, meaningful stories,
Mm,
uh, that's just a hurdle that at least during the
yeah.
series it could not be done.
Yeah, he was an actor that was let down by the scripts largely. Yes, I agree.
Yes, and something Rabbi said caught my ear. He said, uh, of all the things happening on set, Colin Baker is actually the best thing.
Yeah,
And I stopped and watched it again, and it's like he's right. It doesn't gel because the others are terrible.
yeah, yeah. I'm chuckling because oh, why does her name always goes on in my head? Perry,
Um,
um, the actress. I can't remember. I should
uh,
know it. It's it nearly
if
came
I
back.
was Rabbi, I could remember it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nicola Bryant.
Yes, Nicola Bryant. I was chuckling because you're saying all the other actors around him were terrible. She's the only one I've technically met. I was in the one launch party I ever went to for Big Finish had a few of the talent there, and
Yeah.
she was one of them. She'd broken her leg. She'd just gone skiing and broken her leg. She was hobbling
Oh
around
dear.
in a cast. Yeah, but I have been in the same room and at least nodded to her as we passed on the way to the bar. I was on the sad writers' table getting drunk as fast as possible, with the other writers all trying to get drunk as fast as possible, looking embarrassed and shy, while the glorious talent swanned around, including Mark Gatiss as well. He was there. That's the one I do remember because League of Gentlemen was on at the time, and oh, Mark Gatiss. He's well into his Doctor Who, as I'm sure you're aware, because he's
Oh
been in
yes.
it now. Yeah, but yeah, that was the one time I got to see the glorious shining talent in the same room as me, and Nicola Bryant was one of them. The very person you said can't act, and I'm not going to argue the acting at that time wasn't great, although she was pretty good in Star Trek Continues.
Yes, she was.
Yes, she was.
Yes, she was. She
I
was
did enjoy that.
the barrier person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, she
And
really did it well.
man, she turned on the evil face when she had the red shirt shoot himself.
Yeah, so I think her acting has improved since the Colin Baker days.
Yes, yes. I just don't know where she appears. drawing a blank. I know she's doing things, but
Yeah, I think she must be doing quite well. I mean, the
yeah.
fact that they Star Trek Continuum actually get some pretty good guest actors, didn't they? I mean,
Hmm.
they had oh god,
Buck
Apollo from
Rogers and Wilma.
they had what?
Buck Rogers and Wilma.
Buck
Uh,
Rogers and all. Did they
Gil
have?
Gerard
Oh
and
wow, I didn't notice that. They did
Gray.
have Lou Ferrigno, of course,
Yes.
the Hulk.
Yes.
Um, Jamie Bamber. That's who I was trying to think of. They had Jamie Bamber.
They
He's
did?
the yeah
He's
yeah on
Apollo.
the first episode where that astronaut gets blasted off the hull of the ship and drifts off into space. That's Jamie Bamber.
Oh, I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to go back and see that.
You have to watch again. You can barely see him because he's wearing the spacesuit is quite obscuring the face. But yeah, it's Jamie Bamber. So it's quite amazing
Huh.
the number of people they got of
So
good
he
caliber.
just walks on and gets killed?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
There's a couple of lines like ah, and then flies off the ship. Yeah, it's who else did they have? They also had I can't remember the Farscape Chiana. They had Chiana on
Yes. And
the actress.
I could tell that that role meant a lot more to me than she was acting.
Yeah.
Because I saw her about a year after that, maybe two,
Yeah.
and uh, she's carrying some weight on her shoulders. Something is there,
Mm.
and uh, I wish the story had brought that out a little more because you could tell that something has transpired. That,
Yes. Yeah,
but
she did play a very troubled character. It's true.
yes,
More than the role elaborated. I agree. I think. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Seems like there were a couple of well, Colin Baker was in an episode with Battlestar Galactica girl fighter pilot.
Starbuck.
No, 78.
Oh.
Um,
La la la. I know who you mean.
yes, her.
The daughter, the daughter of the other Battlestar commander.
Yes,
I know the one you mean.
Sheba,
Yes.
and
There we
she
go.
was played by the daughter of the mother on Lost in Space.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know
Lord, I can remember everything except what I'm trying to think of.
that.
Uh, anyway, uh, back to Doctor Who.
Sure. So you
Let's,
wanted me to write some Sixth Doctor stories. The thing is, at the encouragement of both Svi, I think, and definitely Eon, my editor, I'm going to try and write something that isn't Doctor Who eventually. Although I do still have a plan to write a season 14. So after season 13, which is I guess it's out there, but I'm still recording the videos right now.
Mhm.
We're in the middle of editing episode 4. We should have 6 episodes done by the time before BBC pumps their 6 pieces of dross out. But there are 13 episodes in season 13, so I'm still going to have another 7 to do afterwards, and so we'll have a proper season, unlike the BBC.
Mhm.
But after I've done that, I will do a season 14, but it'll be a little bit different because I'm going to ask my YouTube friends, among others, to contribute their story ideas, and we'll try and make this more of an ensemble effort. So I'll bookend it. I'll definitely have it. I know where the series is going to begin. I know it's going to end, but I'm going to leave it very much free, like a real old Doctor Who series where you had different writers writing different stories throughout the
Mhm.
entire season, like
Yeah.
how it used to be in the good days. And then that will be the last Doctor Who I think I do. I'm going to start writing something that is not Doctor Who after that, and try and fulfill the promise that that Eon and Svi have seen in me.
Well, I have no doubt that you can accomplish that.
Thank you.
How are how else are other YouTubers helping you? Are you getting the press you need from the YouTube world?
Well, Svi on his own seems to kind of make up for it on like single-handedly. He's really pushing it. Um, I don't know if you know Bird of Prey 5.
No.
He's quite a small channel. He's a friend of Anti-Trek. I'm going to say Anti-Trekker. He's now Salty Trekker. Anti-Trekker's quite a bit bigger. He has helped and promoted it a bit. Bird of Prey has done a lot, even though he's a small channel. He's actually tried to he tried to push it under the nose of Gary from Nerdrotic, who made noises about being interested and then made no effort to contact me at all. Which I'm not too bothered about.
For shame.
Given things that happened between him and Doomcock and him and Mindless Entertainment subsequently, I'm not crying myself to sleep over this one.
I haven't even figured out what happened.
No, well, as I've already said, I'm actually friends with, I'd say friends with Doomcock and friends with Jesse, Mindless Entertainment. So I tend to give their words some credence. So
for sure.
I just don't want to go anywhere near it right now.
For sure, and you probably shouldn't.
No.
But, is there anything that we should be doing more to help you?
I just maybe I should be doing more in some ways. I should be promoting stuff more. I'm not using I don't use Twitter, whereas Doomcock has promoted my stuff on Twitter. Well, thank you, that's very generous of you. And Jessie's obviously talked about my stuff on her live streams. Mecha Random, I sent it to Mecha Random 42 as well, actually. She's unboxed it and talked about it and been very enthusiastic. So I'm getting help from people in that regard.
Very good.
I would say there's never too much help. So as many people who go out there and you reviewed it.
Yeah.
That was the first. You did review it, didn't you?
I think I did.
I'm not imagining it. You definitely reviewed it. Yeah. You are the first.
My memory's not as good as it should be.
You're not the first review. Svi did the first review. He reviewed the first half of season 12. Mm-hmm. That was the first ever. Again, he is a one-man promo machine. He's if other people might not have done as much as he's trying to make up for it 1,000-fold. So yeah, he's done reviews would be really helpful. If people could actually review either me doing it the red version, the audio adventure version on YouTube, mm-hmm. or the book, or both. If someone mm-hmm. reviewed this stuff more and more prominently, that would be useful, I think. But I can't ask for people to do more because it's not their responsibility. It's not up to them. If they want to, awesome. I'm very glad that Svi is so much in the I want to do this camp.
Do I have permission as a reviewer type to use bits of live audio?
Of course.
From your channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course you may. I mean, I would expect a reviewer to be able to show clips. Isn't that how it's done normally? That's how I review stuff.
I don't know. The YouTube rules are so screwy.
Yeah, if I were a big film company, circling back, I did those sword fighting film reviews, which is I think what you first saw on my channel. I almost didn't get to the end of that because the copyright striking got so severe. It was fine when I started, but by the last 3 or 4, I had to really bastardize my output and make it look almost unwatchable in some cases.
And I relate to that.
Yeah. So I struggled through, and some of my early fans were saying, when are you going to do more sword fighting film reviews? And I'm thinking, I don't think I can. I can't show you clips anymore. I can't show the stuff I'm talking about. It's become prohibitively, disruptively obstructive. I can't do it well without showing you bits of the film. So
I did a Halloween movie review that I think is probably one of the best Halloween movies. Mm-hmm. Because it's 1959, it's all practical effects, and there's no goofy stuff. It's just screen chewing actors doing what screen chewing actors do.
Yeah.
And I can't show that in an 8-second clip.
Really? Even a 1956 film is getting the bots alive, and
I haven't tried my my luck at it. I've just been going with screenshots.
Right. Okay.
But
you can, if you upload it without going live, it will still do the copyright strikes. This is how I check my stuff. Yeah.
Yes. But what uh, there was a thought there.
I could tell, but I think it ran away.
That happens more and more at our age.
Oh God. I hope. I mean, yeah, I'm
You're
slowing down a
probably
bit, I
younger
think.
than I am, but
Yeah, but not as much as you might think, I suspect.
I'm not going to tell. Um,
I have given it away, actually. If you were paying really close attention, I told you how old I was when my doctor first came on the screen. And that'll give you a pretty...
this is my doctor too.
Who's your doctor?
Tom Baker was
Oh, he's your
my
doctor. Okay.
first real doctor mainly because Tom Baker is the first doctor to really make his presence in the States.
Yeah, I can believe that as well, yeah.
But and I think had I seen John Pertwee first, he would have still been quite prominent in my memory. But
I was 0 when he took over the role. So I was born in the same year as the Fourth Doctor. There you
go. Oh God, you're young.
But thankfully, he was on the screen for so long, I definitely had him in memory by the time he left. I mean, I was 6 or 7 by the time he left. It's like, yeah, that's my doctor. How dare you replace him with the wet vet? But, yeah.
I have to give Tristan some credit. In his third year. In his third year.
He's not bad. God.
He really pulled it together in his third year. He was the doctor that I wanted to see at that point.
Yeah.
But then he died.
Yeah, I know. He's a good actor. I'm not denigrating his acting talent. He is a good actor. He has done good roles before and subsequently, but he's no Tom Baker. It's just like that was just such a level above what we'd seen before and subsequently for a long time.
Yes.
It was just, I was always disappointed after that point. When he fell off Jodrell Bank, I was very upset.
When he fell off what?
Jodrell Bank. It's the big radio telescope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if they were pretending it was something else at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was Jodrell Bank he fell off.
Well, let's see. It was the Ferris Project, and I think they went there to film in the outskirts of the park, and they had to use a model,
right?
For some reason.
Yeah. Probably they wouldn't have to climb up it, I imagine.
and they vastly improved the shots when they did the Blu-ray version.
I've got to get these things. Oh yeah, let me say something nice about Chimbal. While calling him Chimbal, and that is he has encouraged me to go back and watch the Doctor I'd never seen. In other words, I've seen the whole of the first Doctor now. I'm almost entirely through the second Doctor. So that's William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton. Troughton is brilliant. We saw a few of those as a kid when they were repeating them. They repeated a few Troughton, not much. They repeated a little bit more Pertwee, but it was basically Tom Baker all the way, and then the subsequent Doctors. But I'd seen An Unearthly Child, and that was about it. But First Doctor is brilliant. I now understand why people love Doctor Who from the get-go. This is, some of the stories here are top-notch. Troughton's stories are a bit more shaky, but Troughton as an actor, I've always admired him.
Troughton defined the Doctor.
Yeah.
Completely. So. But the first Doctor introduced the one thing that Chinballs refuses to give us. A grandfatherly Doctor.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
I mean, you got two grandfathers, hopefully, and one of them was always the grandfather that would lead you into mischief, and you should be terrified, but you always knew that he'd get you back out of it.
Yes.
That's who Doctor Who began as.
Yeah, I have much more. I used him as a character on more than one occasion. For Big Finish, in the 8th Doctor story I wrote, I actually used the trick of having the first Doctor coming to talk him out of a depressive funk he ends up in at the end. But the first Doctor I always reviewed as a very severe, very unfriendly, very cold character. But he
Mm-hmm.
was the perfect foil for the Eighth Doctor, who was a much more friendly, avuncular, enthusiastic person. Having the first Doctor talking the Eighth Doctor up essentially out of his depressive, it was just
Oh,
brilliant. Using
oh!
those characters together was, I loved it. I loved writing that. I'm very proud of that Eighth Doctor story that I did.
I've got to
And then
read
I,
that. That's in your Regenerations
it's
book.
in my Regenerations Past. I mean, unfortunately the Big Finish volume is out of print, and you'll be paying stupid money for it if you try and find it on Amazon. Even, I mean, it's in Life Science was the Big Finish one that was in, and it's like 35, 40 quid for a whatever copies they've got left, floating around because it's so out of print. One of the reasons I stuck it in here for much less is because this is much less. You can afford it. So I used the first Doctor in that, and I was very happy with that story, actually. I was happy with all of them, but I got progressively more happy the more I wrote. And the last one I wrote, which is the Tom Baker one, I was the most happy with, and I went crazy and wrote a 12,000 word one. But anyway, that's not the point. I also used the first Doctor again at the beginning of season 12. So
Yes.
my Dallas shower scene has the first Doctor again, cold, severe, condescending.
You
Um,
begin with the shower scene,
yeah, basically.
and then
Um,
hit a button and make the TARDIS properly white.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's the first Doctor's already done that before Capaldi falls out of the shower. Hence his surprise and horror at this change to his surroundings. So I really like. I liked it. I did it. As a bit immodest, but I like the idea of having the scale of the 12th Doctor's main console room, big, not quite as
Mm-hmm.
perhaps as cathedral like as the Eighth Doctor's one, but big. But then with the color scheme of the original first Doctor's TARDIS plastered over the top, it's like, yeah, and of course he gets several old Doctor stuff items thrust upon him by either the first Doctor or circumstance. So yeah,
Right.
but you can't. Uh, Steve always worries about this being fan wankery. But if you do it in such a way that the character itself is objecting, it's significantly less fan wankery. So the 12th Doctor is pissed off constantly at having Fourth Doctor cast-offs passed on him, First Doctor aesthetics cast on him. He's always annoyed that he's getting this stuff thrown at him. And that even
He needs roundels in his console room.
yeah, I agree.
That's the
Um,
law.
the first Doctor helps him in several ways. In fact, there's an item that crops up in the last episode of season 12 that is introduced by the first Doctor in the first episode. It comes full circle, and the 12th Doctor still isn't pleased that he's done this for him. He's just like, get out of here, stop interfering. You don't see the first Doctor. This is just him in his head going, like, really pissed off with this guy coming back and sticking his oar in. But that is the way. If you want to reintroduce old stuff, do it in an antagonistic way so that it's not just
Yeah.
naturally accepted by the character as being, oh, this is all great, la 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 la, everything's perfect, fluffy bunnies.
I knew I was listening to the right story when you have him step on the sonic sunglasses and
Yeah.
grind them to ash.
Lift your foot, not that foot, the other foot. Yeah, I had fun with that.
That should be a phone ring.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I've only gotten to episode probably 9 in the 12th, but we've got the whole 13 to get through, and you said you're going to have 13 episodes in the 13th because you're
there are
better
13
than
episodes.
Chibnalls or
Yeah, it's
Chinballs.
kind of like how all the new Who series up until Chimbal took over were. They're all 13 episodes. I went back and checked.
Mm-hmm.
With the specials, the Christmas special, they all managed to total 13 episodes, except for Chimbal, because apparently not only can he not write, he can't produce quantity either. He can't actually get enough stuff together. It's like, Jesus Christ.
If I remember right, and I'm probably this was probably hyperbole when I heard it. He spends a season's worth of money on an episode. Now, that season may have been back in 1980, but still.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. I was thinking, surely not. You'd expect something looked better. I don't know.
That I
Can
mean,
you believe?
what? Who thought that console room made
Oh.
sense and paid
To be
for it?
fair, I've only seen it in stills and people reviewing. I've never watched any of Chimbal's Who. I've only experienced it secondhand through other people's reviews because it seemed the best way to not corrupt my own love and appreciation for Doctor Who. Don't watch the shit. Is my guiding principle? Is I will not, after watching 6 episodes of STD and knowing how much that spoiled my appreciation of Star Trek. I'm not going to do that again. I will not watch the crap Doctor Who. I will keep my pleasant memories of good Doctor Who and keep his crap to one side. Obviously, I'm aware of how they run because I've seen the reviews. I know how crap they are. I know the general storylines, but I haven't had to endure watching them, thank God. It reminded me of something. Yeah, something else that Chimbal has completely missed a trick. This is the 13th Doctor, yeah?
He hasn't found the number 13 in anything.
This is the 13th Doctor with what he's working with right now in the 13th season, yeah?
Yeah.
And he couldn't write 13 episodes to go with it. And yet, season 13, which I've written, has 13 episodes in it, has essentially the 13th Doctor. There's a lot of talk in season 13 about how is this Capaldi Doctor really 12? Is he 13? It comes up again and again in discussions. There's a reason for it being there. How could you not write and use the very things that are they're inbuilt into this season, this Doctor, it just makes me glad that I have the bar I have to reach is buried. I have to lift myself over a bar that's subterranean. It makes it
You
so
need
much.
a shovel to cover that one.
Yeah, it's so liberating. Everyone should feel free to write Doctor Who right now because everyone virtually could write it better than the person currently in charge.
Yes. I frequently get rubbed the wrong way and make the statement on Twitter. You could just film a ham sandwich on a stool for 45 minutes. If you want to get crazy, you could put a console room around that. And
yes.
it would be far more watchable.
Some people might say that we are watching a stool right now, just not that kind of stool.
No. She's far worse than a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, ham does imply acting, doesn't it?
When I saw her in Broadchurch,
yeah,
I had respect for her as an actress because she pulled it.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have that same level just for an episode?
I haven't watched Broadchurch, so I can't really comment on it massively. But
I watched the first season partly.
Right, but I do know that she's playing someone that isn't. The character she's playing is a kind of a mother, housewife type character, isn't it? Essentially.
And less.
Yeah, so maybe she's just not got range. Maybe she can play a character that isn't a million miles away from her own persona, her own character. But range is something she doesn't have.
Everything looks like a nail.
Everything looks like a nail.
When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, I think that's the problem. I'm sure she can act within her experiences, but lacks imagination.
Do you think what you have written has put pressure on BBC and Chinballs? And I ask that because what I'm now hearing is the marketing campaign for the Flux, that bad sentence, is your plot summary for episode 1.
Is it?
It sure sounds that way.
Do you mean episode 1?
The TARDIS is dying, and the universe is going to be destroyed. Well, actually, that's that's Matt's first appearance as the TARDIS is dying, but the universe is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, the universe being under threat is not something exclusively of my invention, but if they are talking about the universe fracturing into different fragments and pieces, then they're definitely lifting off my season 12. I don't know if they would. I don't know if they will. I don't think Chimbal could actually pull it off. I don't think he could actually, even copying, do a decent job.
No.
Um, I was curious that they've introduced this idea of the flux, this mysterious four-letter thing. Given that
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
given I've got the bulk running all the way through mine. Now,
Yeah.
the difference here is my bulk is not either my invention entirely. The bulk is a name that we use in physics and string theory to
Yes.
describe the 11-dimensional world in which string theory lives, and our four-dimensional universe is a mere bubble universe within a 15-dimensional bulk of all things. So I didn't invent the word bulk, but I did run with it. I used it, and
Absolutely.
the way I'm describing it is, well, it's also kind of a little bit Lovecraftian as well, more than a little bit, yeah.
Very much
So
so.
I very much blended the Lovecraft and the string theory in my background. I sincerely doubt that Chinball has managed to put that level of thought into his flux, or that level of consistency either.
That's something that all the way back, as far as I can remember, when rather than doing something timey-wimey or magic word,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, Doctor Who most often, best times, uses actual science.
Thank you for saying that. That has always been another thing that marked me out from my fellow Doctor Who writers back in the day at Big Finish, was that I did not like magic-y stuff. I didn't like pixie dust as an explanation. I always tried to make my stories a little bit more hard sciencey than the ones that were going around at that time. And now I've watched the early ones, I'm not alone. Some of them were a little bit iffy, but there was a lot of hard
Mhm.
science in the first and second Doctor as well. So me doing that wasn't a travesty. It wasn't heresy. It was how Doctor Who used to be done. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I prefer my stuff to have. Okay, the first one I wrote with Tom Baker was a Tom Baker Doctor one, and it had a nebulous being. Looking back on it, it's a bit like the Great Intelligence. Now, I didn't know about that at the time because I've only just seen that stuff, but it's a nebulous psychological entity that takes the Doctor's mind and starts torturing within his mind. But even that isn't magic-y stuff, really. It's an entity that manages to take him out of his consciousness and play with him and try to send him mad. And the other two, the Eighth Doctor's world he sets up is a world in orbit around a black hole for good scientific reasons. It uses the tidal forces on the planet to help generate geothermal power, which
Mhm.
powers everything right down to atmospheric generation plants on the planet. There's a lot of hard science in that setup. And then he goes and travels into the far future, and anyway, stuff happens. But and the
And that
go
actually
on.
ties back canonically to the fourth Doctor's recommendation to Sorensen in the face of no, not the face of evil. The antimatter universe.
Uh-huh.
He had made the recommendation that they study Copernican forces between planet movement
Mm.
as an energy source.
Yeah.
And where you went with it is an astronomically more uh, powerful version of the same concept, really, with,
Yeah.
as you said, much more dimensional impact. I hadn't really thought about it that way. Uh,
It's yeah. This is before I. I wrote these ones before I became a doctor of cosmology. Before I became really a proper physicist. I had a physics degree, but I wasn't a physicist. And no one has a straight undergrad degree should call themselves that thing. When they've really done it, properly and contributed something to the actual science, maybe then. Even when I got my freaking master's in physics, astrophysics, I didn't call myself a physicist even then, because I didn't think I was a real physicist. Only when I produced something, which is how you get a PhD, you actually make something and add to the knowledge that is not already there. Then I do, and I still feel like an imposter now, but I will grudgingly admit, yeah, I am a physicist. Fine, I'm a physicist. I'm an astrophysicist. I'm a cosmologist. Yeah, but I still feel like an imposter. But no, I didn't know that stuff when I was writing this stuff. I had my bachelor's, and that was what was going on. But I was interested in science still, obviously, and I did know about Jovian moons being heated by their motion going around Jupiter, and hence why you've got volcanism on Io. I knew that gravitational forces even then were a good way of generating power. Yes, yeah. So, but I just stepped it up a bit with a black hole and a planet being tugged about.
Oh, yeah. Very redneck science there. When in doubt, do what you should not do.
Yeah.
Do not approach. Hey, yeah, hold my beer. So, does that make you a theoretical physicist?
Kind of.
Whoa.
Ish. I'm being cagey on this. I mean, I never thought I'd end up being a theoretical physicist. I thought I barely got my degree the first time because I was such a wastrel and did not concentrate as I should have done. And I thought maybe I might get back into physics and do something experimental. And then I always did like astrophysics, and there's not much experimental astrophysics. There is some, but there's not a lot you can do from a university basis to begin with. So I ended up doing an astrophysics master's. I got interested in cosmology, of all things. Again, I didn't think I'd be going down a maths route either. Maths was never my strong point, and I ended up doing cosmology, which is pretty mathsy. And I still don't think of myself as a mathematician either, even though I now teach maths for a living as part of my living. But I can't remember the original question, but
I don't know either.
I did not expect to be doing. Yes, I am a theoretical physicist, but really, so I'm being cagey about it. I'm a phenomenologist, and the first week I was doing my PhD, we were sent on a summer school at Sussex University where we basically got drunk for a week. But that all the new PhD students in astrophysics across the entire country were sent to Sussex University to get drunk for a week. But there were also a lot of useful lectures, one of which was given by, who was it? David Siri, who I knew because he worked in the same field later on. I got to know, but he gave a speech about where does he work. And he was a cosmologist, and he described where he sat. He said, I'm a phenomenologist. I sit between the wacky theorists who come up with their strange theories. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not sure he said this exactly. But these weird string theorists and others who come up with weird physics theories, and the observational guys, the people who build Hubble Space Telescope or any number of other observatories. They're the experimental astrophysicists, yeah? A phenomenologist sits between the two. We take the wacky theory, we see what that wacky theory might generate in terms of observables, things you could see, and then we throw it at the experimenters and say, well, does this match with the observations? Or we take some of their observations and do some rudimentary cursory checks and then hope they do it properly later. But yeah, that's where I was. I'm between the two, between theoreticians and experimentalists. And that was perfect for me because I was neither. I was not good as a high-end, hard theoretician. I'm not good as a get-down and dirty experimental guy. But I was in the perfect place for me. All my weaknesses were cancelled out in that particular place, and I could sit between the two, and I was happy there.
Oh, remember the immortal Big Bang line when anytime that you're with three other guys, just doctor, 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 and then you point to the engineer and say, Mister.
Mm. Yeah, poor Wolowitz. I know. But of course, he is the most applicable, and actually,
I know. He's the only one that went to space.
Yeah, I know exactly, as he should, because his skills were needed up there.
He built the toilet.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. But yeah, so I wouldn't call myself a theoretical physicist because although yes, I do deal with theory, and the first thing I did was finding a new theoretical actually yeah a new theoretical thing that would allow you to predict the evolution of certain universes, cosmologies,
Ooh.
um, when they're perturbed, which means they've got stuff in them, lumps. That was very theoretically. There wasn't any. There were no pictures in that paper. There was no diagrams. There were no graphs. There was just equations. But that was the other one I did was on dark matter and dark energy interacting, and that one actually had some graphs and stuff, and you could see things. Um, so
The physicist's comic book.
yeah, almost like that. Yeah, yeah, it had actual graphs all the way through. And I did coding as well. I hated doing coding. I tried to avoid coding I worked in the computer industry for a little bit. I tried to avoid doing that ever again. And the last 2/3 of my PhD were doing coding, essentially writing a piece of bloody code to evolve these lumps of stuff, dark matter and dark energy, and see if you got something vaguely like our universe, or how much could you vary the way these things interact and still get something that could match our observations we have now and in the future. That's what I was doing for dark matter and dark energy. But yeah, I'm not a theoretician, but I'm not an experimentalist. I'm somewhere in the middle.
In the future, we should do just a layman's chat on dark matter because I'm so far behind.
Yeah,
And I
I'll do.
know that's got to be interesting as much as Hollywood uses it for fairy dust.
Yeah, no, I'll do some revision. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely things that can be talked about in a non-fairy dust way. Yeah.
Uh, Back to Doctor Who.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. What did you have in mind?
are there any other projects like yours that are putting pressure on the woke wankers?
That's what you were talking about. Have I put pressure on the BBC? I honestly don't think they're even aware of me. And if they
I
are,
don't think they're bright enough to notice,
no,
but
exactly.
the audience has.
You reckon?
You're getting bantered about.
Good.
Uh,
I'm glad that people are talking about it, but I'm even more glad that people are reading it. That's the only reason I stick it out there is so people read the damn thing. I'm not going to retire on the pittance I'm getting from Amazon, that's for sure. But I'm really
no,
hopeful that people read and enjoy it.
I think we got to make you a little bit famous.
Well, thank you. Good luck.
Let's
But
see.
other people? Your original question was: are there other people that may also be putting pressure on the BBC? Yeah.
Yes,
There are others out there on YouTube who are producing their own stuff. The only one that
yes.
I remember clearly is Beware. You may have seen his Doctor Who stuff.
I believe I have. Yeah.
They're very audio play. Mine are more read audio books. Yeah.
Yes.
His are much more dialogue heavy. So you've got the characters interacting through dialogue and a few sound effects. His visuals are much better than mine. He's got some really nice painted backdrops and stuff that he does it against. But his entire focus is different. So he's doing more of an audio play than an audio book, which is more like what I'm doing. Although I'm trying to up my game in terms of presentation for the latest series. But yeah, his work is way superior to Chimble's by yards. So yeah, there's at least two, me and him, doing really good work out there, which puts their dross to shame. And it's not the only one. I know
Mm-hmm.
there are at least a couple more who are a bit like the way mine was done in a shed. There are people running around in the back streets of Huddersfield, I think, and filming their Doctor Who. But even that was more enjoyable than what Chimble's pumping out. So
Yes, the Little Red Doctor was much more interesting than any episode of um, Gin Balls
what was the
that
Little
I
Red
went to
Doctor?
watch.
In case I missed it.
Uh, the fan YouTube series,
Mm-hmm.
and it was to look at him, a little thin, frail um, actor portraying the Doctor,
Oh.
and his console room was about 3 people wide, and he had built a console room in that scale for his shed, and and had pulled off some decently written stuff,
Mm.
His biggest shortcoming would have to be in his sound engineering, because
Right.
there was a lot that I just couldn't hear.
Oh, that's a shame.
That yeah, and that's the same with all the YouTube doctors, but that are fanfics.
Yeah, yeah,
But
of course.
he stuck out as I was watching a few of them as being some of the more imaginative.
Yeah. Little Red Doctor, yeah?
Yeah,
I'll definitely have to look
and
that up.
he has regenerated into another doctor that he still produces.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's very cool. I'm
yeah.
definitely going to have to hunt this down.
I wish I could remember the story to point you toward.
Because
Uh,
I'm sure I can
Speaking
find
of,
it. Go on.
go ahead.
Well, I was going to
Uh,
say that we're both going to cross over. You. This reminds me. The weird thing is, this level of sort of fan fiction and fan production occurred after Sylvester McCoy left. After they canned Doctor Who the first time, yeah.
mhm.
It's really weird to see this level of fan production and quality and and enthusiasm happen while the thing is still running on the BBC. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, that's how far they have missed the mark. They have
Yeah.
missed the mark by that same margin, which is conceptually a constant from from 1987, 89
I think
to
one or the other. Yeah.
yeah. There's the same level of bad
Yeah.
mistake that's happening now, and
Yeah.
they're
No.
still having a series for some reason to make a political statement that no one cares about. And
They've shoveled
um,
a. Sorry, they've shoveled a lot of money at this one. It looks like. I mean,
yeah,
there seems the effects from the. I didn't even watch their trailer, but it seemed that people are saying their effects trailer, the effects as seen in the trailer seem to be of very high quality, very high
hmm
production value. But
as
y-
PowerPoints go.
yeah, well, I don't. I've not seen it, but the thing is, you can stick as many sequins as you like on a dog turd. It doesn't change the underlying dog turd. I suspect that the stories he's going to produce will be as dire, unimaginative, preachy, just non-entities that all of his stories tend to be.
If they aren't, someone has taken over.
Yeah, yeah. Or I mean, maybe he has suddenly in the twilight years of his career somehow managed to learn how to write. Either is good. If he's somehow
hmm
become talented in the last 6 months, then more power to him. But unless, as you say, someone's taken over, I don't think we're going to see anything but a very shiny dog turd.
Yes, yes, he's polished that thing up well. Um, hmm.
Yes.
but now, how did your TARDIS shed sound studio come to pass?
Well, the shed, I built the shed to store things in originally. Um, and then I rejigged it after several regenerations happened in my life. I rejigged it to be a place to sit and play music. There's loads of, you can probably see them in the films. There's a Hammond organ in there, the drum kit.
Mm-hmm.
There's guitars. There's a big fat Leslie speaker. Amazing how much fits in a 10 by 8 shed. A couple of chairs. Um, but yeah, it was so I could mess around playing. I can only play guitar, but I like to have the other instruments to hand just in case I can just make something with one finger. Or, but yeah, it was to play around with music and not annoy the neighbours quite so much was one reason. And then it turned out to be mostly white on the inside, so it was a fine place to do Doctor Who stuff.
Just a natural place.
Yeah. Now we're doing it up here. This room I'm sitting in right now is now where we're filming all the Doctor Who because it's reeled up at the moment. But there's a blue screen that drops down behind me, and as I said, we're trying to up the production value. So we've got nice-ish backdrops and stuff, and I've got better at my green screening, and all the characters are
Well, the
over.
alien background you've selected today is outstanding.
Right. The wolves staring over my shoulder here. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Is that a shower curtain or a sheet?
That is that's that's a mattress actually behind us. So that's a ground sheet, a
Ah,
fitted sheet. But it's a fitted sheet covered in walls, so it's a cool one.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't go wrong
The
with that.
blue screen, which I've only recently set up, is actually roller blind, but a nice blue roller blind. It took a while to find a good blue one. And it comes down to just the level behind the top of the seat. So I can blue out the entirety of
Perfect.
behind me. I've now learned how to make a blue screen in front with that bit missing, so I can mesh the two images together, and this entire middle section is blue screened onto whatever backdrop I've got. So I'm learning. I'm learning.
Fantastic. I have not yet got a blue screen as my uh, uh, development targets have aroused the more violent tendencies of my wife.
Oh.
So
Oh well.
yeah. So the textures on the walls in the shed were acoustic.
Yeah, they were actually. They were just polystyrene food packing crates that I glued all over the walls. Um,
Oh, awesome!
yeah, and the ceiling as
Galaxy
well,
of
actually.
Terror.
Yeah, indeed. I recently tore it all out though and replaced it with what do you call them? Mattress toppers. They were cush, thick, cushy, cushioned mattress toppers. So now it's got a much flatter appearance. It's still white, but it's
Mhm.
there's a lot more room. These polystyrene things are about that deep because they're like empty trays, big tray, deep trays. There's a lot more room in the shed now, so it's now mattress toppers down the walls, and I can move around inside it and stand up in the middle and not hit things. I'm really pleased with it. But we're not really using it for recording the Doctor Who stuff. I have recorded some music stuff in there not that long ago. Oh, including my John Barrowman support video I did.
That was you. I forgot about that.
You saw it, yeah?
Um, I think Problem Being put that up, and I
All
saw
right.
it as a result of that.
Yeah.
Lee is Problem Being.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that was me in the shed doing. Actually, it's a Deep Purple song where I had to change about 4 words over the entire song to make it relevant to John Barrowman being cancelled by the BBC and Big Finish. But it was a Deep Purple. It's amazing. That song was written before I was born, and it's still relevant today.
Yeah.
I know.
Wait a minute. It wasn't that long ago.
73. 73. It was the last of the classic Deep Purple lineup albums. Who do we think we are? And there you go.
Okay. I mean, I can pretend I wasn't born yet, but the TARDIS sound, is that
Oh,
just you strumming the frets?
yeah, I'm a pick slide, basically a pick slide
Big
up and
slide.
down up and down the bass strings on a lead guitar, through my not very fancy Marlin Reverb 50 amplifier with the, the chorus and the reverb turned up to max. And yeah, then I might have re-reverbed it on Audacity afterwards. But that's basically how I did it, and it gave quite a good effect.
It was nice. It was nice. There was something about that that took you from fan interest to devotee.
Mm,
Um, there was a. It wasn't a hey, this is a makeshift, this will do type of thing.
no, no,
It was I want it to have this Derbyshire effect
yeah,
because I mean even she used her keys when stroking the
the
piano.
piano, yeah, yeah. I knew in theory what I was doing should produce a sound that isn't a million miles away from it because it's just going up and down the coiled strings on the bass strings of a guitar,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a piano string. So
About the same.
it gives it's not identical by any stretch, but it's
No, well you
very
didn't want to
reminiscent.
damage your guitar strings with your keys.
No, but it gave a sound that was definitely evocative of it, and yet was its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't ask for more, really.
You did it. You did it. You impressed me a lot when you did that.
Thank you.
Um, let's see. How do we find you online? Where's the easiest place to stay in touch with you?
Well, YouTube is where you will find me, and obviously you can leave comments. Direct messaging me, I tend to fall back because I don't use many of the things like Twitter. I tend to fall back on Discord, because that's a fairly easy one. And on Discord, I am Dr. Alex, can't speak now. Dr. Alex, hashtag 4668. I think I got that right from memory, because I don't often memorize my Discord thing.
Is that your server?
So yeah, it would be my server, I assume. Not that I ever use it as a server. I'm only really logging onto other people's things. But if you want to direct message me, I think you need to look up Dr. Alex hashtag 4668, and that should get it, I think.
Okay, 4668.
And
I got that
seems,
down.
for me, the safest way for people to contact me. So lunatics don't grab my email address and start bombarding me.
Well,
Discord is for lunatics.
I divorced that one, so the one that's left is I'm still very, very amenable to, because she can kill me. Hey, there will be a day that all she has to do is pinch a hose shut. I'm not going to push it. Okay, so on YouTube you are Dr. Alex.
Yeah. There are a few Dr. Alexes, it turns out, on YouTube, but
yes.
If you look up Dr. Alex and then seasoned 12, that will definitely find it. Or Dr. Alex and Doctor Who will probably find it as well, I imagine.
Okay, and another easy way that I've been keying in is your icon is the diamond.
My icon is the diamond?
Yes. Yes, the others have round icons.
Oh, that's a good point.
On their channel.
My icon would look different. That's true to most other people's. Yeah, good spot.
Okay, well, I think we've gone on enough rabbit trails that we've avoided most of the things I wrote down, but we did we did have a good solid hour and 16 minutes of conversation.
We covered a lot of ground.
If you would please send me the Audacity file or a link to it, I will grab that and with your blessing merge that together and re-upload it. And
I'll even clean it up for you, and I'll send you the cleaned MP3.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Alex. This has been a thrilling time for me, because
thank you.
While I haven't devoured the entire output of your channel yet, I probably will.
I hope so.
I am thrilled that I discovered it, and I really don't remember who turned me on to it first. It may have been Noel, it may have been Rabbi, should have been Gary. Should have been Gary.
Yeah, well,
but
no.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, I know I know Rabbi, I know Noel, so seeing as how we're next door neighbors on the other side of the Atlantic.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you very, very much for giving me your time. And
thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been great.
Oh, for sure. I would love to come back and talk about dark matter or anything else that you would like to, and definitely promote anything that you're doing.
I will try and get something up myself as well, something running so I can return the invitation and get you to come on with me.
I will definitely supply you with some things.
That'd be great, because I've been thinking about this, but I'm so busy doing the editing at the moment. It's kind of absorbing all my time. But I would definitely want to do that. Yeah.
I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it, and I run into the same type of thing, that I spend a lot of post time doing things that have nothing to do with what people see, and that's okay. I mean, it's life.
Yeah.
But you gotta get some more entertaining, fun stuff happening for all of us.
Yes.
And it's time to live within that constant, I think, because that constant of what people want and have always wanted, that the BBC wants to operate outside of, in Hollywood. And
you mean giving people what they want, or at least they will enjoy, would be enough, wouldn't it?
Oh, I think that'd be amazing. Either one. Want enjoyment?
Yeah.
I don't need both.
No, either will do. Yeah. Right. Shall I
Thank you
let you
very
go now?
much, and
Yeah.
I will do what?
I was going to say, shall I let you go now?
Unless you have some parting words or something you want to add.
No, I think those were wise words enough you ended on just there.
Fantastic. I will see you in the probably weeks to come,
Yeah,
Dr.
definitely.
Alex.
And I'll get that audio file over to you very soon, in the next 5 minutes, probably.
Thank you, sir.
You're very
We'll
welcome.
see you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.